All right, everybody. We have a fun bonus, a bonus reading that is for the collective, but for individuals. And it's not limited to this week. That is how this has come in. So this was presented to me as it's a 3-card spread. First card being, what can individuals do? So what can the individual do? The second card, what can the collective do? And the third card is, what is the universe calling for? What are we going to learn? I don't know. It feels like this is through the end of the year. Okay, this is through the end of the year, going into February. So it's the next 6 to 8 months, depending on the person. I'm seeing what looks like rockets or the like flares. Looks like flares that people are lighting off. Like small shout outs to, it's like we're trying to get others' attention. Like, alert, alert, this is a problem. This is a thing that we have to deal with. And so individuals are doing this for their one-off issue or thing that they're observing in their life, in their community. I'm getting a lot of family stuff, like things that are affecting your family, your closest, most important circle. When we see, it's like when you see something, say something. Alert people about it. So it could be alerting the family. It could be alerting your community. It could be alerting the news. It could be alerting whoever. But when something is happening, we're practicing over this 6 to 8 months, actually saying something about it. Doesn't mean that we're solving the problem, but we're getting the word out of the issue so that we can call in. That's what you do with the flare. You're calling in attention. So people will shoot those off when they're on a boat stranded at sea. Like, it's to have the Coast Guard be able to find them. So it's that type of an idea. We have more power than we think as individuals. Okay. And this is the trust card. I trust the change unfolding in my life. So there was a third card that says life on it, and it's this one. I trust the change unfolding in my life. I think this is very interesting as a selection for the individual card. We're seeing that she's allowing things to grow and evolve, one might say. The flowers are shooting up and out as if it was like a flare, like what I was just talking about. When we're trusting the change, we're allowing for it. It definitely slots in with honestly, with both of the cards, with the mystery card, because we're allowing the unexpected to come in. That was the second collective reading. Like, things are going to unfold, things are going to happen. With the first card, we're allowing, supporting, facilitating the energetic exchange and to have flow and knowing that we'll receive. And here we're trusting that change is going to happen. Change is a constant. And we can be the facilitators of that change. We can send the flare off when there is a problem and maybe we haven't spoken up before, and now is the opportunity for us to do that, and we can be part of that change for the thing that we are growing. Because again, we have the flower here, so it's out of a sense of compassion, like we're trying to tend to our family or our circle or whatever is something that's happening. It's out of a sense of trying to help people, support people. And we're going with the flow of it. We're allowing it to happen. We're leaning into it. We're engaging in it ourselves. The flare is going off. And there's just a bunch of people coming in. It's like a big crowd of people. Some are in uniform, some are in like hand-me-down clothes. Some people like they're dressed for the office. Like we have kind of a mismatch of people from all walks of life. And that's part of what's needed. Like what the collective is meant to be doing over the next 6 to 8 months requires people from all walks of life, from backgrounds and different perspectives coming together to tend to the mission of care. So they're taking the baton. So we have the individuals that are lighting the flares of like, hey, this problem is happening and like we have to help with this situation and that situation and that situation in their smaller scale. And then the collective is coming in to support that and be like, yeah, like that is a problem. Like we should be helping those people. Like we can help together and we can put our we can put our money where our mouth is. We can vote with our dollar. You know, what companies are you buying from that you're supporting? That's a way of doing that. And it's also coming through that there's resource sharing. So it feels like there is a kind of a big money component with the second card. So there's some resource sharing as well. So could you donate? Could you volunteer your time? So it's helping some of these very individual causes that the collective is deeming worthy as having a huge international impact. That's how it's coming through. Like it's not just from the country you're in. These are the flare issues that are happening at the individual level feel actually universal. Like they're in nearly every country, nearly every culture, some version of those individual use cases where compassion is needed. The whole collective of the world can relate, can contribute, can show support through voting with their dollar, donating. I keep getting brought back to, oh, you could give your time. But it feels like for some people, it's like because you're starting the foundation, because you get on the board, you're trying. So it feels like it's not just, oh, let me like go volunteer somewhere. But I mean, that's obviously a useful thing. But it feels like we have to back it up by something else. And in a lot of cases, it feels like it's what we're paying for, what we're choosing not to pay for, how we're donating, how we are giving people resources. I'm seeing a lot of like collection drives, things like that. So if you're looking at the stuff that you have around your house, or how could you repurpose or share that or give that to other people? So something that has monetary value, but it doesn't feel like, oh, you're just dropping it off at some center. It's like you really were involved in the process of helping that individual, helping that family, helping that situation through more of a human connection. There is a shift here in how can we look in the person's eyes who's on the other side of that screen or device, if that's how we heard about them. How can we connect to them so deeply on that soul level to say, like, I am here for you. I am here to support you. Shirt off my back. It's that type of an energy, but rippling across the collective and the whole world. Okay. that's some pretty powerful change. Okay. And the card that we have is the focus card. I focus on what is working. I also like the visual of these two cards next to each other. I'll show that in a second because they have kind of echoed imagery. Honestly, the design of them the colors are different, but the design of them is pretty similar. So for the collective, yes, we're trying to tend to the challenges, but if we only focus on the negative, it's like you need highlights. You need like the feel good stories. You need to have this sense of hope and inspiration. Is your timeline on social media just all things that are bad news? When we are in the giving spirit, it's most likely to come from if you watch someone else do a good deed, then you're like, I'm going to do that too. So if we're focusing on the things that are working, what is positive, then we can still attend to the individual, smaller scale, but global problem areas and challenges that are relatable. So what I wanted to show, the parallel between these two cards thus far, is they both have kind of like this little like ripple pattern happening in the background. But they have some, like, don't they almost look similar? Like we have the bow and then we have the shape of the flowers this way. And then we have the moon here and it almost looks like she has the moon behind her. I just think they look really similar. So it's almost like we're evolving. So as we're getting larger and larger, there's a synchronicity. There's an energetic similarity between these two cards, even though this is the individual scale and this is the larger scale. And then there was the encouragement to make sure to highlight, consume, and act in kind when you are seeing things that are working. Because if we're only focusing on the negative, or if we're only focusing on the scary or intimidating side, fear-based side perspective, fear-based perspective on change, then we can't see where it's all going. The archer here, she's pointing. This is the direction, the trajectory that we want to go on so that we can help more people and we can come together in a way that is compassionate and supportive. It just feels like it's like a big hug. We're bonding. We're seeing each other's humanity. We are finding joy. We're finding the highlights in this lived experience that we have. And what else? Okay. It's not actually a mummy. But it looks like it's like somebody lying down and then they like go to sit up. It's like slowly sitting back up. Just as simple as the re-engagement, like what we've been sitting here talking about, of change, of community, of family, of compassion, of supporting one another, holding one another, wanting to really be a part of building that happier, more peaceful, more connected world. So it's I guess it's, for lack of a better term, like the waking up. It's coming out of the slumber of inactivity or inaction or fear-based mindset or negativity, doom scrolling, spiraling. Blissful ignorance, like choosing to not participate, choosing to not like put our heads in the sand because it feels like a lot. And it is a lot. Taking on the weight of literally the world, the collective, is a lot. But there's so many things that we can do on the individual level, that we can do on the collective level. There is a roadmap. Sounds coming. There is a roadmap for all of this. Okay, so see the person, they toss the covers off, they put on their slippers, they got one of those like old like sleepy time hats. Like really, it feels like the slumber has been long. The slumber has been too long. Everything feels creaky because we need to move. We got to like oil up our joints. Like we feel like out of practice. Do you have a crick in your neck? Did you sleep funny? Something like that. It's just kind of feels like a long metaphor of like waking up, and we're waking up and it feels kind of dark. It doesn't even feel like we're waking up and it's like the full light of day. So we probably could have kept sleeping because of the light conditions. So we're up, we're holding a little light. We're starting to move forward. We get to the door of the room and we're bracing it. We're taking some deep breaths because we know, all right, the real world is on the other side of that. But the message that's coming in is like, but there's peace there. But there's peace in that too. Trust the change unfolding in my life. Focus on what's working. What was coming up in both of those is we're not focusing strictly on the negative. We can't live in the fear-based mindset. We have to trust, we have to believe, we have to know that when we are taking our individual action, when we're working together, it's all in the spirit of helping and healing each other and bringing more peace. And that is also on the other side of the door too. Let's see our card. Okay. You ready? Proper rest helps me feel and look my best. The images for this were all about slumber. So I think what's funny is it's like we're kind of having the opposite of this, is like the person they're not sleeping anymore because they have been resting for this whole time. And it's like, okay, well now let's get up from our eternal slumber nap of inactivity. We're sending off the flares of here's the small issue challenge that's happening in my life with my family, in my community, people that I care about, sending off the flares so people are aware of it. Deciding to participate in making that change and not just staying with the fear-based mindset of like, I can't do anything. So there's a shedding piece as well. Like, how can we get rid of the fear? Focusing on what's working was the collective was coming in. We're banding together. We're looking at our resources, physical, monetary. How can we direct that towards companies voting with our dollar that can support the change that individuals need that we relate to, because we've lived those experiences as well. We're living them right now, as an example. And making sure that we're not, in addition to getting stuck in a fear mindset of, well, I can't do anything as an individual, that we're not focusing on the negative, that we're not only consuming what's not working, that we're pulling in what are the wins, like taking those and using those to power us to keep going. And then similarly for here, it's like we're waking up. The universe is calling for re-engagement, not just of individuals, not just of, your town, community, state, country, continent. It's everything energetically. This is the universe is calling for us to also make sure that we stay charged as we're going. So we're waking up, we're coming out of our slumber, we're re-engaging in all the ways I just stated. But then we have to make sure that we still rest along the way, so that we find joy along the way, that we shed fear that's holding us back along the way. So we have tactics that we can apply as individuals and as the collective throughout this entire 6 to 8 month process. Oh my gosh, I just realized this. Okay, this is perfect too. So remember how I was comparing like the visuals of these cards? So it's the women on the this side, and then they have kind of the arc shape. We need the same thing with the moon. So it's almost like this. We have like the same shape going on with all three of these cards. For means of comparison. If you're like, oh, well, maybe all the cards look like that. Trust me, they don't look like that. So we have, here are just some other examples. You can see totally different shapes. So all three of these, a lot of them honestly have, something that's centered, that's in the circle. Some have animals. So here's one like cycle. But all three of these have this kind of like angled shape that is happening. Something that we are wielding. Our hands are engaged. So we are helping to grow. We're sending the flare out. We are directing our focus to include the positive, to move together as one towards the target. And then we're also holding the moon, We're holding our emotional state, our rest, our self-care practices. We're keeping that as the drumbeat. So as the collective for the universe is supporting us in taking compassionate action. The moon is all about self-care. Rest is self-care. So if by and large the piece that is on the other side of the door isn't just, oh, well, now I have to leave my PJs and I have to take my slippers off and I'll never rest again. No, we will rest again, and we're being encouraged to rest again, but not to be in the eternal slumber of inactivity and disempowerment, living in fear, focusing on the negative, not coming together, distrusting.